Whereas last year, the SEMA show was all about the Jeep JL Wrangler, this year, it's all about this guy, the Jeep JT Gladiator. SEMA. Being that this is SEMA, it's all about big and blingy, and sure enough, General Tire brought out this awesome 2020 Jeep JT Gladiator, complete with their grabber tires, 37-1350s, mounted on these awesome new KMC beadlock wheels. You can see that they're in this beautiful candy red powder coating and look absolutely awesome. As far as lift kits go, it looks like it's running a Skyjacker lift kit along with some King shocks, reservoir shocks, what I think is a Rugged Ridge bed cover, the MagnaFlow exhaust delete, and by the looks of it, a whole lot of Go Rhino products all around it. A pretty badass build all the way around, nice and mild. If there's only one thing that I would do differently, it's to get rid of this thing. Sorry guys, I'm just not a fan of the unibrow. Being that SEMA hasn't actually started yet, all the coverage we're bringing to you so far is just pre-show coverage. And because of it, companies like Dobisons, who brought out this Jeep JT Gladiator out to the show, they came all the way out from Florida, and so it is a little bit on the dirty side. Fortunately for us, we get to see a little bit of what they brought out to the show for us to see. Being that they are a spring and suspension company, that's what we are looking at down here. They've got their coils, which are powder coated in kind of a turquoise color, along with what look like reservoir shocks that they make as well. I'm pretty sure that most of the Gladiators that we are going to see at the show are going to be more of a mild build, something like what you see here. This one's running a set of Falcon Wild Peak, 37-1350s on a set of 20-inch wheels. One of the cool things about the Gladiator is that it is definitely made for an overlander. And like what I'm sure we're going to see a lot of at the show, it comes with this bed rack made by Front Runner, along with some kind of a rooftop tent that I think Dobisons is going to be actually making as well. You can see they've got some kind of additional lights mounted to it as well. But what's really cool is they've got these front and rear bumpers made by Proline, this one being a rear bumper tire carrier. So for those of you who are going to be carrying a larger than factory spare, this would be an option to consider. Oh, one of the things I forgot to mention about the rear Proline bumper is that they actually have this additional guard, kind of like what you see on Rubicon models, so it protects the back corner of your bed. It's kind of strange that they have this rear bumper tire carrier and still have the factory spare mounted. Guess they want to be double sure that they've got themselves covered out on the trail. Now this Gladiator right here, the one that we started off with, this is kind of what I'm hoping to see more of throughout the show. As you can see, this whole thing is built to ride on a set of 40 1350 Cooper STT Pros, a tire that we've always found to work out really well. And what's cool about it is that it's also mounted on these new KMC wheel beadlocks. As you can see, this Jeep was brought out by Bolt, who hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to later on the week to see what components and parts they're making for this vehicle. And based on the windshield sticker, you can see that this is a Deutsch Off-road build. Now to get this Gladiator running on a set of 40-inch tires, it is riding on a rock crawler lift kit, a short arm kit mind you, and you can see pretty much all the other components are relatively factory. The axle is still a factory 44, front and rear, tie rod drag link, all factory. Falcon shocks front and rear. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but what's cool about the rear suspension, I give kudos to Rockcrawler for coming up with this. They've got this pretty cool triangulated 4-link setup, or at least up top, the upper control arms are triangulated so that they can ditch the track bar. As you can see here, it's pretty cool. Rockcrawler is actually utilizing the top of the factory rear differential, which actually has these mounting points to secure the truss that they're using, or this kind of bracket that ties in the upper control arms that allows them to triangulate it and ditch the rear track bar. Up on top, we've got a Rugged Ridge hard bed cover. And then all the way around the body, front to rear, we've got bodyguard bumpers, fenders, rocker guards, completely protecting this Jeep. Last but not least, because overlanding is the name of the game with these Gladiators, we've got a Rhino rack up on top of this Gladiator, complete with high lift jacks, some max tracks, power tank, and a few other doodads to complete the look. Now we're getting into the good stuff. Although I'm not a real fan of bedline bodies, this truck right here that you see by Black Rhino is a fine example of an overland rig that a lot of people are going to want to see. What makes this particular Gladiator so cool is that it's got this awesome Adventure Trailers camper box. It's a hard box that's completely enclosed with this massive Nemo clamshell style tent system. When it's completely open, I don't know, it's almost the length of the rig. So what's cool about the whole Gladiator is that a lot of people would have said in the past that you shouldn't be running larger than factory size tires to go overlanding. What we're seeing more and more of here at SEMA are guys running on 37-inch tires, or in this case, a set of 40-inch Nitto trail grapplers. Of course, being that this is a Black Rhino rig, those are the kind of wheels it's running. If there is one thing that I always have a hard time with, and it is SEMA, so I kind of get it, but if you're going to run 40-inch tires, you really should be running something better than a factory axle. To get this truck up on a set of 40-inch tires, it is riding on a FabTech suspension system, which looks like basically short arms, but with their control arms and their shocks as well. So my mistake, giving it a closer look, it looks like the FabTech system, at least up front, is a long arm system. So you can see that they've got these new brackets down here to make that possible, along with some kind of a skid plate as well. I'm not sure whose kit it is. It might be FabTech's, but one of the cool things that I do like about this lift kit or this setup is that it does have a track bar relocation bracket installed on the axle, as well as a drag link flip kit, and this drag link is pretty massive. So looking underneath, it appears that they have some kind of a MagnaFlow exhaust system. I'm not exactly sure which one, but there's obviously a muffler delete, or at least the one that's in the far back. And you can also see a Viair tank that they've incorporated onto the frame, and it looks like it may be tied into all the axles, or they made it in a way that you can air up all your tires at the same time. To wrap up this Jeep, you can see that it's running a set of Go Rhino front and rear bumpers and metal cloak fenders, probably to help clear these 40-inch tires. Last but not least, it's very cool to see that it's at least got a Warn Xeon 10S winch on it. Exactly what you need when you're in trouble. Now this thing right here at Dropstar, this thing is badass. Blue that Jeep came out for the Gladiators is gorgeous. I absolutely love this. I have a few friends that actually have one of these, and they do look beautiful in person. What makes this thing so nice though, look at these body graphics. Now, I don't know about you, but this thing has an old school cool that I can't even describe. It's just awesome. Of course, what makes this truck so cool is the fact that it is so big. And to get it big, it's got to be running on a set of Nitto trail grapplers, 40, 1550s on a set of 24-inch wheels. These Dropstar wheels are like in this piano black. They look great and perfect for SEMA. Not so sure about off-roading, but they are showroom quality for sure. Of course, to get this truck clearing these massive tires, it is riding on top of an Evo 6.5-inch lift kit system complete with Fox shocks. To beef up the steering system, you can see here they're running an RPM tie rod and drag link. Once again, overlanding is the name of the game, and in this case we've got ourselves an Evo bed rack system, kind of like what we have on our JT, along with a CVT tent up on top and a deck system inside. And finally, to help you get into this big bad boy, we got a set of Rock Slide Engineering side steps and rocker guards. As you can see, these things sweep down and help you to get inside. So this is actually pretty cool. If you take a look at these two Gladiators, this one right here is pretty plain Jane, and even though it's on 37-inch tires, when you look at it next to this one right here on 42-inch tires, this looks like it's bone stock. In fact, this is how they probably should have come right from the factory, because this thing doesn't look like you've done anything at all to it. So obviously this truck right here is built for Bilstein, and to clear these 42-inch tires, they're doing a few different things. One of which they're running on a 6.5-inch Evo lift kit on short arms and what look like geometry correction brackets for the control arms. It's running Bilstein shocks, of course. It's got Nemesis fenders front and rear to give it a little bit more breathing room underneath wheel wells. So unlike a lot of the builds that you see here at SEMA, this one is actually built well. This one is actually meant to wheel, and as you can see here, it actually comes with a Dynatrac XT60 front, and in the back it's got a Pro Rock 80. So this thing is built to push these 42s, as opposed to a lot of the Jeeps that you see that have only got factory axles. So as you can see here, it's got a JE reel drive shaft to push this thing along. And to help steer these huge tires around, we've got a PSC Ram Assist. In addition to the Evo suspension, this truck also has a host of other Evo products, including their quarter-pounder front bumper, their roof rack, which is actually a half rack made specifically for the JT. We've got the bed rack here as well, which has also got a rooftop tent. And kind of like what we have in our JT, it's got a deck system, and they're doing exactly what we're hoping to do once we get our tent as well, and that's to place our spare tire right up on top of it. Now, I've mentioned a few times that these are 42-inch tires, but specifically they are Goodyear Wrangler MTRs with Kevlar. And they are mounted onto a set of KMC XT231 Robbie Gordon race wheels, or beadlock wheels, and they look fantastic. And finally, like so many of the big JTs that we've been seeing here so far, it can be quite difficult to get in without some kind of a step assist, and in this case, we got some rock slide engineering, rocker guards, and electronic steps that come down to help you inside.